For many years, nuclear weapons were known to be the greatest security threat to humanity. Today, fossil fuels are our weapons of mass destruction, and we need to stop them.
I'm sure that there are lots of folks in the fossil fuel business who would say that, we just can't afford to stop drilling and expanding and building new gas plants and so on. What do you say to them?
We're currently on track to produce 120% more fossil fuels than can ever be burned if we want to have a safe climate. We can meet the demand for energy now through renewable energy. It's easier to produce. It doesn't cause oil spills, doesn't cause asthma, and doesn't kill millions of people with toxins. The fact is, we've all been talking for a long time about reducing emissions, about building a cleaner and safer world. And in the meantime, behind our backs, the fossil fuel companies have been building more and more and more oil, gas, and coal that we don't need, and that's killing us. We have to stop the hemorrhaging.
So you're proposing a treaty, a fossil fuel non-proliferation treaty. Why does the world need a treaty? Don't we already have Paris?
We do have the Paris Accord, but it includes very few mechanisms to stop or slow down the production of fossil fuels. The Paris Accord is essentially about negotiating how much space is left in the atmosphere and who gets to pollute what. But who gets to produce what? We don't have those agreements. We have governments like my own in Canada where they're dramatically expanding the problem of fossil fuel production while at the same time trying to reduce emissions. I actually had folks in the Prime Minister's office say to me, that's not our responsibility to address fossil fuel production. It can continue to expand. We only deal with emissions. That's our responsibility under the Paris Accord. That's crazy, right?
When you talk about a treaty, it implies that there's something that's enforceable. How are you going to enforce a fossil fuel non-proliferation treaty?
One of the first stages is a coalition of the willing. You start to have countries that are willing to step up and call for these changes, and that starts to create international agreements, because ultimately enforcement is going to come at a national level or through bilateral agreements, through trade agreements.
How's it going?
So every day I am excited to turn on my computer. There are economists and physicists and scientists and academics, people who I've admired my whole life, wanting to know more about the fossil fuel treaty. And we released a letter of 101 Nobel laureates. These are some of the smartest people on the planet in every discipline. Already, cities all over the world are contacting us and endorsing. Vancouver became the first city in Canada to endorse. LA became the first city in the United States. Barcelona has now endorsed in Europe. And there's already conversations with other nation states about introducing the concepts in other forums internationally this year.
What's the next breakthrough point, do you think?
I think a big breakthrough is going to be governments agreeing to transparency and accountability on fossil fuel production. Right now, if you want to find out how much fossil fuels are being built on the planet, you can't. If you want to find out how much is being built within a certain country, you have to be a senior experienced researcher to dig it up. So we have now proposed a global registry of fossil fuel production that countries would have to submit their data to, that we can add up and see what's being built on the planet and where.
We have a lot of climate activists who watch this. How can a climate activist help to support your movement for a non-proliferation treaty?
By calling it theirs. This isn't just our movement. No one owned the idea of a Paris Accord. No one owns the idea of a global fossil fuel treaty. So we're calling on activists to endorse the fossil fuel treaty, and we're producing as many resources as possible in our campaign hub so you can take it on and add it to your campaigns. Whether you're calling on a bank to divest or you're standing in front of the bulldozers stopping a pipeline, you can be calling on your government to endorse the fossil fuel non-proliferation treaty and ensure a stop to not just that destructive project that you're proposing, but the destructive projects all around the world.